Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. That's my email. For your purchase and pricing questions about this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform, reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today we were discussing a D-Series circa 2005 Rolex Oyster Perpetual Cosmograph Daytona reference 116509 in white gold with black Tahitian mother-of-pearl dial. This is a lovely and lush take on the classic Rolex Motorsports chronograph. 40 millimeters in diameter. We'll get close again and take a look at the thickness, which is 12.3 millimeters. From lug tip to lug tip, the watch is 47.5 millimeters, and then if you measure the end length from side to side, the absolute distance across the wrist is 51.8 millimeters. With a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Zooming out, we throw the watch on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, and it is a lovely piece. It is substantial. Solid end links, center links, thick gauge clasp, all in white gold with a solid white gold caseback rather than a sapphire. The Rolex full bracelet in white gold weighs as much as other brands' full platinum watches, and it is truly impressive, even eyes closed. My wrist of 16 centimeters circumference wears the watch well. I can tell you that it fits easily underneath a tight dress sleeve. There's your cuff shot. Over the top, the lugs are nowhere near the edge of my wrist, and you can see that well. And down the barrel, again, you can see I've got plenty of clearance on each side. I could recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. Taking a look at the bracelet, it is the Oyster style 3-link with a little bit of taper built in. Center links polished, flanks polished, shoulder links satinated, removable links fixed by screws. And here you can see we have the pre-2008 clasp. We have the primary snap lock, and then we have a clamshell lock with a little bit of a kerf there so you can use your nail to pop the clamshell open. Now you will see that this is not a pivoted beacon hook system like the lift lock on the later clasps. So around 2008, late 2008, you would have seen the new double locking clasp. This is the previous version. It has a different swing arm internally, and the first lock is a friction fit snap lock. The second lock is the clamshell. However, it does include the EasyLink 5mm quick adjustment system. So 5mm in or out without a tool. It's the equivalent of adding or removing one sizable link, and there are 3 divots drilled inside the clasp. You can see one of them right there. And with your strap tool, there are 3 divots. You can re-anchor the bracelet inside the clasp. So removable links, easy link, and then the divot system for sizing. 3 different ways to size your Rolex Daytona. Rolex has its own foundry and smelts its own gold. So not only does it make it bracelets, cases, and clasps, it makes its own white gold, and it uses gray gold, an 18-karat white gold alloy that does not need to be rhodium plated, and if scratched, there's simply more white gold underneath. Conventional white gold is rhodium plated, so it looks shiny and silver, but when you scratch it, there's a different color underneath. This watch does not suffer that pitfall. We have screw-down crowns and pushers, trip-lock crown, you know, because in white gold, the trip-lock crown has 2 small flanking dots and 1 large central dots. 100-meter water resistance. You can see that the lacquer inside the bezel is still distinct, meaning this watch has led a charmed life. The tachymeter can be used in conjunction with the chronograph to gauge the speed of an object, and since this watch is inspired by the annual Rolex 24 sports car race at Daytona, the timepiece is useful if you want to gauge the speed of, for example, a race car over a kilometer. The dial. First, the easy stuff. White gold hands, white gold Roman numerals, white gold Rolex crown, polished chapter rings for each of the sub-register, and then black Tahitian mother of pearl. And you can see that different cuts of the mother of pearl have been used for the sub-registers, so at different angles relative to the light, they show different contrasting colors relative to the dial base. And this is known as black Tahitian mother of pearl. Of course, it's anything but black. It's a prism of infinite colors, and the whole Roy G. Biv of the visual spectrum is present. So this is a wonderfully dynamic dial. You'll also appreciate that a lot of the printing that seems obligatory on Rolex watches, it's here, but it's less evident. Underneath the solid caseback, we have Rolex Caliber 4130, a manufacturer movement first launched with the initial in-house Caliber Daytona back in 2000. 44 jewels, bidirectional automatic winding, was the first Rolex automatic movement to feature a rotor bearing instead of a jeweled staff for greater shock tolerance. 72-hour power reserve. It was also the first Rolex movement with an extended power reserve beyond 2 days. It beats away at 4 hertz. It uses a combination of vertical clutch and column wheel for the chronograph, so thanks to the column wheel, it feels and it sounds crisp. It's the more traditional and expensive way to make a chronograph. Thanks to the vertical clutch, you'll note there's no jump or stagger when I start the chronograph seconds hand. Also, if I wish, I can leave the chronograph running with no additional wear or tear to the mechanism. That's one of the other advantages of the vertical clutch. You can just leave the chronograph running. If you prefer, for example, center hours, minutes, and seconds, just prefer the chronograph seconds hand is your seconds hand. It is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer adjusted in 5 positions, and for durability, it features a full balance bridge and a free sprung balance. Adjustment is executed using a microstella key, and the microstella key allows you to change the polar moment of the rotor for precise adjustments that are not susceptible to changing via shock. All of that, and it has a handmade Breguet overcoil hairspring to help it pass that chronometer test and keep even time in any position with respect to gravity. As you can see, it is not a loomed watch, but I hope this video proved illuminating. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.